an LA icon. The Dogfather reps his Lakers as hard as Spike Lee goes for his Knicks. Purple and gold skies, Stephen A. When Snoop was asked about the Clippers, the JV team to most LA natives back in January on Stephen A's World, he had this to say.
Laker to a Clipper, man, I can't be faded. Come on, man. We're talking about the Clippers, the team that has 0 banners, that are the opening night champions for 14 years straight, have no banners, no nothing. Kawhi is a great player. Paul George is a great player. They got great coaches and the homies on their team. They do a great job, but they're not the Lakers, man. It's just something about that purple and gold, man. And it's like they need to get a whole new stadium and get a whole new stigma, because they're never going to win playing in our living room.
Gotta be Gucci's with the bees. But last night, after his Lakers got embarrassed in Phoenix, he posted this gem on IG and had me dying. Look at the last line. Never thought I'd say it, but we're sorry. The Clippers better than us. Frank Vogel can't coach. And why the F Montrezl Harrell isn't getting no run. This is heartbreaking. AD hurt more than Mary J. Blige records we saw. Q, not gonna cry. Clippers Mavs all tied up at Game 2, a pivotal Game 5 tonight at Staples Center. Kawhi is third in points per game this postseason, averaging 33. Keep in mind, Kawhi is from California. Stephen A. Does Kawhi have the best chance to become the king of LA?
The best chance to become the king of LA? No. They haven't won anything yet. Last time I checked, LeBron has the ring. He's the reigning defending NBA champion. And even if he loses Thursday night or Saturday, it does not mean that the Clippers win. I will say this, however. Snoop Dogg, by the way, for y'all, for both of y'all to know, Snoop Dogg couldn't make it on the show this morning because he's filming a movie in Atlanta, Georgia, as we speak. So he couldn't get loose to come on First Take this morning. That's why he's not here. But he did send me a text that wanted to elaborate further on the quote that he put on Instagram. Quote, Lakers, too many non-shooters, soft-ass guards in our rotation, can't guard, can't shoot. We doomed. Clippers may come out of the West, and I wouldn't even be mad at this point. If Kawhi and PG-13 faced Brooklyn for it all, popcorn, get it ready. Yep. That's what he said. So I understand where he's coming from. I understand how we looking at the Clippers, but I would remind y'all that Damian Lillard dude that we just finished talking about, they still alive. Jokic, who you were talking about earlier, they still alive. And by the way, the Utah Jazz, even though Memphis is still alive, we expect Utah to win that series with a healthy Donovan Mitchell. They the favorites. So let's not forget all of those things as we sit here and talk about Kawhi as the king of LA. Just because the Lakers are out don't make you the king. You gotta win.
The answer is, does Kawhi have the best chance to replace LeBron as the king of LA? Is yes. Yes, he does. He has the best chance. I may have been a year early on my LeBron decline prediction and Kawhi taking over prediction. And this is not like, will the Clippers flip LA? That'll never happen. That could happen with the Knicks and the Nets. You know why? The Knicks don't have the same equity in this town. They haven't won in so long. Lakers got crazy equity in LA. They've given that city more glory and championships than anybody. That town's never going to be a Clippers town over a Lakers town. But, Stephen A., we know this is true. And Molly, you've lived in LA. I've lived in LA. And Stephen A., you're out there all the time. Lakers fans and, say, Kobe fans are not always the same thing. Right? There's a big overlap, but there are people who are just Kobe fans.
Yeah.
There are Lakers fans who, if the Lakers are sorry and the Clippers are a powerhouse, will root for Kawhi and Paul George, especially since they're from there. So will they flip the town the way the Nets are about to flip New York? Because the Knicks have been sorry for so long. That's never going to happen in LA. Clippers will never flip it. But dudes like Kawhi and Paul George, yes, they can run the town, even if they're not on the Lakers, because they'll be hometown heroes who are balling in the absence of the Lakers' presence. So, yeah, Kawhi could become king of LA. That could happen.
I got you. I just think to be the king, you got to have a crown. You got to have a crown.
Yeah, you're going to have to win.
You can't be the king just because LeBron loses. You got to win.
You're going to have to win.
Let me just say one thing, and I haven't lived in LA in a while, but I lived there about 4 years. And Stephen A., get in on this. When Max says that he knows Lakers fans that if the Lakers are out would root for the Clippers, I do not know any. Any Laker fan I know is so diehard for the purple.
No, I didn't say Clippers. Kawhi and Paul George.
I don't know that.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
you may have corrected yourself, but you originally said the Clippers.
Yeah, I've never heard of a Lakers fan that would also root for Kawhi and Paul George or the Clippers. Ever.
What would Snoop say if they play Brooklyn? Get the popcorn. Who do you think Snoop be pulling for?
No, he didn't say he'd root for the Clippers. He just said that they would be in the position, and he can't be mad because he's so disgusted at the Lakers. I didn't read you anything that said he'd root for the Clippers.
Yeah.
Snoop's got to come on and answer that. He didn't say.
All right, well then create the question. Don't act like he said it when he didn't.
Well, that's
all I know is if the Giants are out, I'm never rooting for the Jets. Hey, Stephen A., your Knicks, you nervous? You going tonight? What's the deal?
New York, stand up. New York, stand up. New York, stand up. You know, listen,
that's weak
I got
today.
business to handle.
Can you do that with a little more intensity?
Please,
that was
clip
the weakest version.
Clip that, and put it next to how he sounded before Game 4. New York, stand up.
Yeah. New York, stand up. What are we in a library? Is that your 6-inch voices?
Stand up.
That's sad. You're sad right now. I'm disappointed in you for that.
They put Stephen A. in a library. The Knicks just put Stephen A. in a library.
Absolute masterclass performance from Dame Dolla last night in Denver. Lillard scored or assisted on 80 points last night, tied for the most in a playoff game in NBA history. All this in a loss with the Nuggets taking a 3-2 lead in the series. You know, we can't seem to talk clutch without the other West Coast comparison, and that is Steph Curry. Max.
Yeah.
Who would you want most in the playoffs?
Oh, Damian Lillard, easily. Look, it seems like I'm piling on Steph with this stuff, but let's be honest, everybody. Steph won a championship, when LeBron didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love. Still went 6 games. Stop. By the way, he wasn't MVP of that series. They looked at, we can't give this to Steph. All right, give it to the guy who guarded LeBron. Iguodala got it. And then he lost a 73-win season to LeBron. And then they added KD. Steph was no longer the best player on the team. And they won 2 championships. He's played in 5 finals, has yet to win a finals MVP. Come on, Damian Lillard, we see it with our eyes. He hasn't been on teams like Steph's been on. Not even close. But Damian Lillard, from this era so far, is one of the most clutch performers, period. He might be the most clutch performer. Even last night was bananas. Not his fault guys were missing shots. No, in the playoffs when it matters most, Stephen A., you know what Steph did, win or go home? In overtime, the reason they're not still playing when they needed him to be at his best? 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds in the last 3:30 of overtime. Warriors not playing anymore. Now compare that to what Damian Lillard just did. 55 in double overtime. Kept bringing them back from the dead. Under pressure in the playoffs, it's really not a knock against Steph, but under pressure in the playoffs, easily Damian Lillard.
Not for me. We're analyzing it differently. No surprise there. But I will tell you this. Here's what I think you're missing. When you look, last night was a perfect example as to why I wouldn't pick Damian Lillard. And I believe that Damian Lillard is arguably, we're talking Michael Jordan status when it comes to clutch. This brother, you put the ball in his hands. Damian Lillard is something to behold. And next to Steph Curry, there's nobody that is his equal as a point guard in the NBA. From a marksmanship standpoint, I get all of that. He's that elite. It's a close call. But here's why I picked Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God has ever created. Damian Lillard even concedes that, number 1.
No doubt.
Number 2, Steph Curry's movement without the ball and what it creates for teammates, particularly those who can make shots, cannot go unnoticed. Last night was an example. Damian Lillard himself was spectacular, but everybody around him had contested shots. Everyone. Nobody is necessarily getting open because Damian Lillard will give it to you. He got the ball in his hands and he'll shoot and he'll take you down. But with Steph Curry, because of his movement without the basketball and how frightening he is due to his range, it not only forces defenses to extend, but it creates a level of paranoia because you literally
It's a great
have
point.
to watch, where is he? Where is he? Hold on. I'll let you speak. Hold on. You got to have your head on a swivel, watching for everybody else. And then with Steph Curry, he scares you so much. You literally watched Memphis concede and the Lakers concede. The hell with everybody else. And literally put 3 and 4 guys on him in pivotal plays, daring anybody else to shoot just so he wouldn't. And those kind of things, that's when it comes to shooting, even when Steph doesn't shoot, because of the paranoia he creates, because of his movement without the basketball, why I would always pick him above anybody else when it comes to shooting.
I think those are excellent points. I'm not going back against those points. I agree with those points. Here's the problem, Stephen A. However you want to slice it, I saw a 73-win team with the fate of the universe on the line against the LeBron James team trying to be the greatest team ever. Beat the Bulls 72-win season. You got to win the championship. They're at home. They have the greatest half-court offense in history. Steph is the conductor of that offense. They went the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds in the fourth quarter without scoring a point, and Steph was awful.
Hold it.
And they lost that. Hold on, that's one. Two, I just mentioned the 0.0 rebounds, 0 assists. Stephen A., here's the bottom line. If Steph had Damian Lillard's clutch gene, we wouldn't be asking, is he the GOAT shooter? We know he is. Or among the GOAT point guards. If Steph had Lillard's clutch gene, he'd be in the GOAT conversation, period.
Hold on.
If he was performed under pressure like Damian Lillard, he'd be in the GOAT conversation.
But Damian Lillard is not in the GOAT conversation for whatever reason. So the point is, that's neither here nor there. The point is negated. At the end of the day, Damian Lillard, I'm not holding it against him, but Damian Lillard once got swept by Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. I'm not holding that against him. You keep bringing up the 73-win season. You keep bringing up stuff about Clay from years ago. From Steph from years ago. Yeah, all of those things are to be acknowledged. There are things that we could acknowledge in the past about Damian Lillard too. It doesn't take away from their greatness. They're both phenomenal. They're both future first ballot Hall of Famers. Damian Lillard is on another level. Clutch-wise, we talk about Michael Jordan status. But even he would concede. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter ever. Ever. Yeah. When we ask that question, that's where I'm going with.
Yeah, I'll